81 seats solution. Can a conservative reform pact save the right? 81 seats. That's how many constituencies the right could win with a conservative reform pact that they'll almost certainly lose without one. A new study has revealed the brutal mathematics of vote splitting and a potential solution that could torpedo Labor's chances and keep what critics call the loony left out of power. But can two bitter rivals actually work together? Here's the problem destroying the right. In constituency after constituency, Conservative and Reform UK candidates are splitting the right-wing vote, allowing Labour to win with just 30 to 35% support. The majority of voters want a right-wing MP, but they're divided between two parties, and Labour walks through the middle. Look at the numbers. In dozens of seats, if you combined Conservative and Reform votes, the right would have comfortable majorities. Instead, both parties lose, Labour wins, and millions of right-wing voters end up unrepresented. The new study identifies exactly 81 constituencies where this pattern is decisive. These aren't marginal cases. These are seats where a conservative reform pact would produce clear victories instead of certain defeats. 81 seats changes everything. It's the difference between Labour having an unassailable majority and facing genuine opposition. It's the difference between the right being politically irrelevant and having real influence. Enter Act 2. How a pact would work from 1:10 to 2 o'clock. An electoral pact doesn't mean merger or coalition. It means tactical candidate withdrawal. In seats where Conservatives are stronger, Reform doesn't run. In seats where Reform is stronger, Conservatives stand aside. Simple, strategic, and potentially devastating for Labour. There's precedent. In 2019, Nigel Farage's Brexit party stood down in Conservative-held seats to help Boris Johnson win his majority. It worked spectacularly. Liberal Democrats and Labour have informally cooperated in local elections for years. In these 81 constituencies, the study shows exactly which party should withdraw. In northern working-class seats, Reform is often stronger. Conservatives should stand aside. In southern suburban seats, Conservatives have better infrastructure. Reform should step back. Without a pact, Labour wins nearly all 81. With a pact, the right wins nearly all 81. That's a swing of over 160 seats in effective terms. It transforms the entire electoral landscape. Enter Act 3, the obstacles, from 2 to 3 minutes. So why hasn't this happened? Because the Conservative-Reform relationship is toxic. After years of defections, mutual attacks, and bitter rivalry, trust is non-existent. Reform UK has been actively destroying the Conservative Party, poaching its most prominent MPs, declaring it finished and irredeemable. Conservative leaders have called Reform dangerous extremists, fringe protesters, a threat to responsible governance. Conservative activists hate the idea of standing aside for Reform candidates they consider unqualified or extreme. Reform supporters despise Conservatives as establishment sellouts who betrayed Brexit and Conservative principles. Even if leaders wanted a pact, the mechanics are nightmarish. Which seats does each party concede? Who makes those decisions? What happens when local associations refuse to comply? How do you prevent both parties running anyway and making the pact meaningless? And there's the time factor. Electoral pacts require months of negotiation, candidate selection processes, getting local parties on board. With an election potentially coming soon, the window for organizing this may have already closed. Enter Act 4. Will it happen? From 3 to 350. The case for a pact is mathematically overwhelming. Britain has a right-wing majority in terms of voter preference, but that majority is politically powerless because it's split between two parties. A pact could fix this instantly. Both parties have incentives. Conservatives face electoral extinction without it. Reform wants to actually win seats and gain power rather than just splitting votes. The 81 seats prize is enormous for both. But pride, personality, factional hatred block progress. Nigel Farage would have to work with conservatives he spent years condemning. Conservative leaders would have to legitimize reform candidates they considered dangerous. Without a pact, the future is clear: continued vote splitting, Labour winning seats with minority support, the right politically impotent despite representing majority sentiment in many areas. The study has shown the solution exists. 81 seats are winnable with coordination. But can two parties that despise each other actually cooperate? Can mathematical logic overcome political tribalism? 81 seats could change British politics. They could stop Labour, empower the right, and reflect actual voter preferences rather than vote-splitting accidents. The solution exists. The question is whether pride will let it happen.